Okay, for sake of time, I'm going to get started right on time. I want to let you know that we are recording this so that if someone missed it or you need to go back, you'll have a link that'll be available to you. If you can't hear me well, can you give me some feedback on that in the chat? That would help out. Okay, so I'm Lisa Gogolinski and I teach at the middle school and I teach computers here. Flipgrid is something that I've used this year. By far, I'm not an expert, but I do feel like I have had some experience and I'd love to have a discussion with you today about it. The format of this is that I have about 4 slides. I want to kind of talk about how to the key points about it, and then hopefully I'll answer any questions that you have. Then we'll kind of open it up to, I'll demonstrate kind of how you set one up or what it looks like, and then we can open it up to any specific questions that I had. I think the format, because we have 47 people in here, I think that the format is best if you type it into your chat if you come up with a question or if something's unclear. So let me get started right away. So Flipgrid. So Flipgrid is the lowdown on Flipgrid. You need to set up an educator account, okay? It is absolutely free. There's no free version versus the full version. What it does is it allows you to create prompts called topics. And those topics are able for the kids to respond in a video. And they can reply to each other of classmates. So you're setting up kind of an environment where they have can talk to each other or submit videos. There is a closed caption feature, which is kind of nice too. So if you have kids and their voices are not, or they're quiet, you can still read or hear their responses. One of the things I really liked about Flipgrid is that every child has a voice, 100% participation. So if I roll out an assignment and I was to ask them to talk about their summer reading and talk about the main character, and I said everybody needs to submit one, it would be everybody submitting their own video, and it has a certain amount of time, and I'd be able to hear that. So it's not just like the first kid that responds in your chat that would be there. Okay. So some learning ideas. I guess I really want to, let me just show you it first before I go into learning ideas. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I thought I would do it this way, but I'm going here instead. So I just want to show you, this is an example of this is one of my Flipgrids. Okay. So I have a Girls Who Code group and I had sent out this invitation to them. And basically I asked them, it's a space where we're going to share our ideas. It says tap on the green plus button and open up your camera and record a short video. Introduce yourself and share a hobby. So what I did back in September of last year is I had each one of the girls that were in my group, they each have a short video and they were able to submit. And you're seeing kind of the teacher end of this, okay? So they're able to see what it is. And when you click on the video, you will be able to, it would actually show a preview. And I know that some of your kids, I'm gonna go back. I know that some of you might have used this for our educator-wise. We had done Meet the Teacher, and I know that everybody in my building, we had asked you to submit a short video about yourself, introducing yourself, and we had placed it onto the staff directory. So some of you are pretty familiar with how easy it might be. You might have not seen the background stuff. So as the person who was in charge of collecting these, I hosted this this topic. I could able to see all the different videos that were here, and then I was able to download those videos and post them onto our website. So it's kind of a great response, and we have some ideas. Now, what it would look like if you were a kid, this is kind of our how you roll out these topics. You know, my topic here was asking about, say, summer reading, and this is my example. I would be able to share either a link or I can share a code. So you can see how when you click on this, it actually asks you a code. So if I wanted to put this in my Google Classroom, I could copy this code, or if I wanted to send an email, this is actually how they would get into this Flipgrid and how it would work. So that code would be there. I'm going to try it out a little bit in a little bit so you can get an idea. That's there. But basically, it allows you to write a prompt. This prompt was saying, tell the class some facts about the book you just read. Okay, so if somebody was answering this, I would then see responses, 25 responses, and they would talk about the different books that are there. So some things that you can think about, like how, and you can, there's ways that you can make, like we made it have only 60 seconds. So you can make certain time slots, and I'll show you when we set up one. You can have, if somebody doesn't want to show their face, which I had a couple that were in this group, I think, they covered their face with a lens. This person didn't have their face there. This one ended up doing, they put smiley faces over their faces. So you can have some kind of privacy if they're not feeling like they want to share what's there. So Flipgrid itself, like I said, it has a whole bunch of different educational connections. I'm just going to go through a few of them as examples, and I'd love if you're somebody who's used Flipgrid before and you have some ideas, if you can share them too after I'm done. You could do kind of like one of the things that they talked about is kind of a what if scenario. What if in a story, what if this happened instead of that? Can you record your response here and tell the class what you think would have happened? We talk about book reviews. Book reviews are kind of neat. You could have kids make a short, book trailer, and they could actually link that to the books by using something like a QR code, which I know might be a little bit more tech savvy, but you could basically have kids do book reviews, and then you can have them link off of a spot in your library. World language, they could record dialogue and send it to other countries to collaborate. They could record passages for you to hear them and how they're speaking. There can be all sorts of different, there's no limiting the conversation, like I said, because you're able to share and get feedback from people around the world. Portfolio building. This is a great one where you can have your kids reflect on maybe a project or something that they did. They could record an explanation of their work, demo, maybe if it's a science lab, they could demo what it is. They could skills that they recently learned, but it could be definitely portfolio building, meaning that they could have a check-in that would ask them to record what's going on. And the idea of Flipgrid is supposed to be face-to-face, so they should be recording what's there, but there's also the opportunity for you to kind of like a Screencastify, share a screen or share something else that might be there. There's a mixtape option on there, which basically I can link together. So say throughout the year, you wanted to do fluency with your class, and you're talking about reading with enunciating words. You could have them do a reading passage from the beginning of the month. You could have them do a reading passage every month. And then at the end, you could loop together somebody's videos so that you could see years of progression. I've seen people use mixtapes too as kind of like a year in review. Like these are all the things we did, and they took different pieces of what people were there. Sharing and celebrating work obviously is a huge one, like that they'd be able to share what they did, and celebrating kind of takes the place of having them, get in front of the class. There's a way where they can kind of share their ideas. When we talk about, the what ifs, I talk about global pen pals. This is a way where you can pose a question, and if you had somebody that was overseas or somebody who you have a connection with, that question could be posted, and they could read and reflect and video back and forth to each other in a forum. Math or STEM journaling, being able to show, demonstrate your learning, whether it's, like I said, you're reflecting on a process, like if you're doing long division and you said, how did you come about with your answer? And then I've used it a lot for class intros or icebreakers. I think kids have fun with this. This is the way they speak. They love to record themselves. They love to be on the screen. So it really does lend itself to all of those areas that are there. Okay. Let me just go back to, I'm gonna go out of here for a second. Does anybody in the room with us, does anybody else have any ideas of how they've used Flipgrid or how they could see it working in their environment? If you do, feel free to take your mic off and share.
I got one. I got a shout out Micah, which is a music organization.
Okay, so I thought, like I said, I thought that it'd be kind of neat to be able to share. Say we were doing a sample. So what I thought would be neat is if you would like to try this out, just to give us a sample, we can try it out with one of these samples that's here. Heidi had said that she uses Flipgrid as an aspect of vocational platforms of students with significant learning needs, videotape themselves in community. Oh, nice. It's basically, it's on your phone. It can be an app. It's going to be in the Chromebook. So it's kind of built in. It's not going to be, not going to have too much trouble with it. It could be, parents could use a code. The one thing that I do have when you do open up a code or open up responses, if you look at, let me see if I can find one. All the kids are going to see all the other kids' responses. So that was something I know that Heidi's mentioning. But if you had something that was personal, you might want to make a private Flipgrid just for a certain group of kids or individual kids, because they are going to be able to see and view other people's responses. So here you can see that, Chloe and A-list was viewed 13 times in my group when I sent this out, 17 times. So people were watching and viewing it. So let me give you a second, and if I can, let me see if I share this with you. I'm just curious if I'm going to drop this into your flipgrid.com. Let me see if I can get there. I'm just gonna see if I can drop it. I'm just gonna try it out first to see if I drop it into the browser bar. So if I drop you this code and I went here, you're gonna kind of see what a student might see. So they log in with their Google account. So it does take a second for them to get in there. And then you're gonna be able to add your response. So if I can, let me just give you a minute. I'm gonna drop this code, like I just said, into the chat. And you can kind of look at, these are the girls who code. This was their intro of last year. So let me drop that into your chat. And then you can kind of see or view what's there. Okay, so I'll give you guys a few minutes to explore that if you want. And I'll drop another sample that I have. I did not, like I said, I didn't use this. I don't have cameras on my machines in my lab. So I had to make sure that we had the Chromebooks. So that was why I didn't do it usually as a whole class. But I'll probably change that, seeing that we're all remotely. So if you can take a minute and check out that link. You want to make sure that you can see and view the videos that are in there. And I will see if I can drop in another example that I have. So bear with me for a second while I find that. The second one that I'm going to send out to you was, it was a question about what a good teacher is. I did a very poor job when I first was setting this up because I did not, you'll see on this one, let's see. It just says to say hello, but I think I wanted them to say what a good teacher is. So I think I would need to edit this, which I'll talk to you about how you could do that. But basically you'd want to make sure whatever they're clicking on is actually what they are talking about. So let me just give you a minute to explore that. If it's not working, please let me know. If you can see while I'm presenting too, just I guess a teacher tip, I usually keep 2 machines running, whether it's just an iPad or I have my Chromebook and my desktop, because on the left I can see, you'll see me looking to the left, I can see what the rest of the class is seeing, along with, I keep open the chat. And on the right, this is where I'm presenting. So it just says, I really can't, I can't live without having 2 screens, because I know Zoom is a little bit different, where you might be able to have the pictures of the people at the same time, but I'm able to, if I wanted to have all the kids and see their faces, I'm able to do that on my second machine. I log in twice as myself. So it kind of has been a lifesaver to be able to manage presenting. Okay. What I thought I would do next, like I said, those are just 2 very simple examples. The volume, like you can tell, a better quality. You could probably talk to your class about where you want them to tape it or how you want it to go. But what I thought I would do next is just kind of show you what it would look like if you were setting up a discussion. So I have different groups, and I wasn't great when I set this up. I was trying to understand how a group worked and try to do organization. I think in retrospect, I probably would do probably by topic, and I would make different questions that are in there, because I might have my A block in a different group than my B block or my C. So if I was doing something, say, on digital citizenship, I might want to create a group that is just called, so in this group, it's going to be a private group. So I might say it is, and like I said, you might do it by subject area. You'll have to figure out how you organize it. I did not do a great job with this. I kind of have everything randomly in there. So if I did digital citizenship and I wanted to do it by students' email, that means that I'll force them in there. I'm making it a private group, so that means only the kids that have can log in with a school email, and you'll see that in a second. They frown against making it public, which you can understand why that could be a problem if somebody uploads something that's not there. Let me just admit somebody, hold on. Okay, so When we're in our private, so we'd say that, we'd say next. This is going to offer, it says add the email domains or the individual addresses you want your participants to use. This is kind of keeps it so that anybody in our school is there. I usually put the @student one just because I don't know if it's going to just allow .nps.org, meaning that anybody who has an email that starts with lisa@student.nps.org can get in there, or any teacher has it. You could put a password, but I don't think you really need that as long as you have your thing that's there. So basically this is allowing anybody with these extensions on their email to get into this Flipgrid. Now, when I say next, it's going to bring me in a topic. So this is where I said digital citizenship, the topic you'd like to explore. So within this, maybe I would say my topic might be being safe online. And I could say, let's see, duplicate topics. Let's see. Oh, I have some other topics. Let's see, I'm going to skip it for now. Okay, so if I wanted to have everybody do that, I could be able to copy this, and it does have it linked right here to Google Classroom. So I could also put in there through Google Classroom. So let me just do that one for a second and see what it brings us. So I'm into sharing to Google Classroom, and I could choose my class. Maybe I'm going to say, I'm going to go to new staff training. So anybody who was there last is going to see this. Action, I'm going to make it be a announcement, and I could say go. And I could put in here that I want them. So here's my Flipgrid code. It's right embedded. And I could say, you know, please share how you stay safe online. Okay. And it's for this is my class. It could be all the students. And I'm going to say post. Okay. So that could bring it in, and it would bring it right to so I basically have it on my Google Classroom now, which it'll show me on my feed. It just came in. Please share how you stay safe online. And there's the link right there. So that's kind of how easy it goes, and it plays nice with Google Classroom. When I'm there, let me just get rid of some of these because I want to be, okay. So inside the group itself, there's an edit button, and it allows me to decide how long I want these things. I do suggest you go back in here because you're going to say it's private. You can have the status can be, students can receive, you know, if somebody writes to them, or hidden. It allows you to, let's see, isn't there a spot here that says time? Public. Yeah, I thought there was a spot that said time, but let me see if it's another spot that's there. So here's my digital citizenship. I have a topic. Okay, so this is the time spot. So I could say, you know, it could be reflection. Oops. On digital. Okay, and that was where I could ask the specific question, you know, where do I want them to, you know, please within 30 seconds, tell me all the ways that you are safe online. I can say I only want it to be 30 seconds. I can actually say I believe, save changes, more options. I think there's one that says a teacher has to actually preview it before it comes on there. That's a nice one too. But there's a whole bunch of different attachments in here that you can have. And when you create the topic, it'll give you an idea. But it's fairly easy. Like I said, it's intuitive. I still haven't mastered how I want to organize this. I don't think I'm doing a great job with it, whether I do it by blocks or by topic or by discussion, because you can see I have a lot of random things that are going on there that are there. Okay. I'd like to open up to questions if anybody had any. Lisa, I put a video in your class. Oh, I can delete it. I will. Okay, so if you try, if you added any videos, I don't think those kids have access to those things anymore, but if you were there, Marie had just said that she was just trying out a video that was there. So she might be in one of these that I have open. Yeah, there's Marie right there. So yes, as a teacher, if I don't want it, I can, if I go back to my introductions, I can go into let me go back here. That was my Girls Who Code one. So I think it was under here. Dance. Let me see, that is not there. Introductions. Oh, this is my broadcast club. So you can go in, if you wanted to get rid of somebody, you could always do, like if I wanted to delete that, if Marie said I don't want that anymore, I can make sure that I delete it from here, delete the response. Kids can also watch each other's and review back to each other. So it's got a lot of different options that could be there for it. So let me just open it up to anyone who has a question or anything that I can, let me just stop presenting for a second. Anything that, I guess, can you give me some feedback on anything that you think it sounds confusing or You know, how likely are you to use it? Would you think that it's something that you could use? Can I just hear that in the chat? If you think it's more catered, I think older kids would intuitively like just get in there. If they're younger, you might have to do a little bit of a demonstration with it. But if I can have some feedback with it. Okay, good. So she asked about adding the assignment from Google Classroom. I guess I just dropped it in there. I guess I'd like to, if I was in my Google Classroom, I really like to control this. So I would just make it as an assignment. So in here, I might create an assignment. And if I created that assignment, or I guess a question or something on your feed that was there, I would start with, oh, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. How many times did you guys do that during remote teaching? Start talking and not sharing what you're talking about. Okay. So I would definitely, if I was here, I would create an assignment, or if you were to ask a question or whatever, and I would just make it this way. So I would say, you know, if it was a reflection, we'll talk about. Oops. And I would say, you know, use Flipgrid to reflect on your project. Okay, I would add it as a link, probably is what I would do. So back here, if I had a Flipgrid, say digital citizenship, and I had an assignment, a topic that I wanted to do, and I wanted to share it, I kind of would do it this way. I don't usually tend to use this because I want to make sure I know when it's heading out. So I might add in a link, and with my link that's there. And I don't know if you guys have been, how much you've done with Google Classroom, but I like to make schedule assignments. So you can start this on, you know, on Sunday night and get things ready for the week. So you could schedule in a date, or you could just assign it right there. So it's going to come out basically similar to the one that I had right before it. So if we were on my stream, the kids would see it. Here's the assignment. It's a reflection. And this one actually came out, I guess I like the way this one looks a little bit better. So I guess there's different ways you could do it. I don't tend to go through these themselves where you would go here, but it did seem to work the other time it was there. Okay, let me just go through a few so that I can see this. Yeah, you would go on to Flipgrid ED. So if you were looking to set up an account, it would be Flipgrid Educator. And when you get there, you're going to be, I'm going to log myself out so you can kind of see. When you get there, you'd say, hey, here's an educator login. I'd make sure I'm an educator because it does have the ability, like I said, for a little bit more than if you were just doing a code. This would be if you're entering a code to join, like say a kid would be there, but you're actually setting up an account. When you get there, it is going to ask you to make sure that you allow for kids to you know, for Flipgrid to access your stuff. And then you set up all the different grids that you might have. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Google Classroom is pretty easy. I don't have a Nate asked if he entered late. I did record this, so I know that this one will be recorded, but I did not have too many other things other than when we talked about all the different ways that we could use it. The lowdowns, I think this is kind of an important slide if you wanted to look at that. Nick had said they used it with class officers and they loved it. Teachers in the middle school become comfortable with it. The virtual journals are great, record their discoveries. That's a fantastic, like I said, and it has all different kind of, like I said, kids have different comfort zones. If they're at the spot where they don't like to share, you can always do like, you know, here's my, if I was sharing, I could always hold my Flipgrid, could be just my, am I there? Oh, yeah, I'm on my book. So you could always hold up a book over the camera, you know, if you're talking about a book, if they don't want their face or head to be in there. But it has, it does have some, I guess I like the part that has every kid has a voice. And if I was to assign it in my Google Classroom, I might actually say like, I want you to post your response and then reply to 2 classmates so that they'd actually give a video and they'd say, hey, I really like how you said this about the main character. I enjoyed that. So they can get and set up criteria. I think you got to be pretty specific. I know I was like, and give kind of a script even. If you said, you know, my favorite character in Hatchet was Brian. And then I liked Brian because he had these 3 character traits. You know, maybe they can start filling it in. So they could even draft it prior. And then maybe somebody else could say, you know what, I never thought of Brian as being courageous. I like how you put that as a character trait. So there's some good conversation that can happen. But the kids love to see themselves on the screen. And just like anything else, you know, it's in our user policy about videos and being, kids do not have the ability to download like I showed you. But definitely they can screenshot it. They can watch the video and take their phones and do it. So you kind of have to talk about how, you know, it's a classroom activity and how we act on class. with it. Any other questions that you might have that I could answer for you? Let me see. So I guess if you don't have any other questions, I'll encourage you to go on to Flipgrid edu. It doesn't cost anything. You can set up a grid. If you ever think of a way to organize better than my mess that I have just a list of topics and discussions. I'd love to hear it because I struggle with that. I don't know whether I want to do it by my A block or I want to do it by my grade level or I want to do it by the topic. So I haven't mastered that, and I kind of have a big mess in there. So I'd encourage you to kind of figure out what organization that you want to do. And you could share across team. I should have said that. That code, you could send it to your teammate and they could also add to it so you could have things that are there. I'm just reading the feedback here. Yes, and Nick had mentioned too, there's a spot there where you can make it private and then you can make it visible for the whole class. So you can actually preview the videos, which is always good with teenagers. To preview there. Yes, the preview is through, Maria had asked about, it's always a video. So Flipgrid is a video. So it is a video response that's there. Okay, yes, Maria, it is Flipgrid edu, Educational 1. Yeah, language students, that'd be really good, I think, with any of the ideas. You know, articulation and how they're speaking and public speaking or reflecting. I think the kids can't get enough practice with that. So I agree. So feel free to explore it. If you want to hang around and ask a specific question, I'm definitely here for you until the end of block. But thank you guys for joining me on my my edCamp, and I'll see you later. Hope you have a great year.
Lisa, I have a quick question.
Hold on 1 second. I can't. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Lori.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks.
So you know how during, I don't know, one of our staff meetings, we had like downloaded the app, a lot of us on our mobile device?
Yes.
So when I go into that though, it's not an educator account, and I did just set one up online.
Okay.
But do I need to like uninstall what I have on there and then try to go back in and reinstall it with the educator login?
I don't think so. I think the Flipgrid app is just made for that for kids, but I think I would be sitting at a desktop when I'm doing so I don't know if you can actually log in as an educator on the app. I think it's just meant to deliver it to the kids. So that's a good question, but I think that you would be mostly doing it on your screen and trying to, I think that would be your way to go.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.